coach Brian Flores says he's definitely healthy, but the hip injury he suffered is still, quote, part of the conversation for his Week 1 status. Nick, what was your reaction to that?
I get why he's saying it, and I understand Wild's point that Belichick never loses. That's their Week 1 opponent to rookie quarterbacks. But Brandon, Tua's starting Week 1 for your former team. I would be shocked if that's not how it plays out, Brandon.
Great. Absolutely not. Tua plays when Tua is 100% healthy. Flores is already talking about his concerns with him being out only 10 months from his surgery. Number 2, Tua plays when the Miami Dolphins are officially out of the playoff hunt. So that may not come until November.
Oh, wow.
Ryan Fitzpatrick gives you the best opportunity to win. Listen, these players cannot afford to go another losing season. Now, there's some people that buy into this whole, let's pack it up and let's go for the first round and first pick overall. Like, no, players and coaches don't do that because we know it's a short shelf life. We have 2 to 3 years to get the job done. So you go with Ryan Fitzpatrick for that very reason.
Real quick, Brandon, just remind the audience, when you had your all-pro year with the Jets, I'm having a hard time remembering, who was your quarterback?
Ryan Fitzmagic, baby.
Fitzmagic.
Yeah. I forgot.
Fitzy just got real excited this morning.
Fitzpatrick. I forgot.
Fitzy loved that prediction from Brandon Marshall. All right, to the latest with Alvin Kamara now. Thanks, Brandon. It's been a busy couple of days for the 3-time Pro Bowler. It was reported the running back's been absent at Saints camp since Friday. Then we heard the team was actually open to trading the 25-year-old running back, and now reports are Kamara will return to practice today as he and the Saints will try to iron out an extension. But Kamara's agent did say he never threatened to hold out or requested a trade. Gosh, this seems messy. Brandon, do the Saints need to do whatever it takes to make sure Alvin Kamara is on the field Week 1?
Yes. There's a lot of people in the Saints organization think he's the best running back in the NFL. And when McCaffrey signed his deal, everybody was like, holy crap, this puts us in a tough spot. But Sean Payton, I said this a couple days ago, sometimes he gets in his own way, but I had an opportunity to sit with Coach Payton and cover Super Bowl 50. And I asked Coach, I said, Coach, what does it take to win a Super Bowl? He said, Brandon, let me tell you this, all right? There's a few teams that just hurt themselves. He said pretty much a lot of the teams hurt themselves outside of 4 teams that compete for a championship every year. He said, so the key is just eliminate the distractions and keep the main thing the main thing. Well, the main thing is number 41. So, Coach, eliminate the distractions because your team is set up to really go for a title run. You have all the continuity in the world. You have the chemistry. These guys been together. They're familiar with each other. So get the job done. Nick, I don't know about you, but it scares me to think that the Saints made Taysom Hill more of a priority than they did Alvin Kamara.
That is, you nailed it. Listen, the Saints are in cap hell, and at some point soon, they're going to have to tear the whole thing down. But they're trying to stave off that day until Drew Brees retires. But they knew that when they decided that they were going to, a year early, give Taysom Hill $16 million guaranteed to extend him into 2021. Can we put up Taysom Hill compared to Alvin Kamara? If you end up losing out, like, look at this. Look at this. This is, Kamara's a better returner. We know he's a better receiver. We know he's a better running back. And that thing in the yellow at the bottom, that's Taysom Hill's passing. It's not like he adds a lot in the passing game. He's completed 7 passes in his whole career. If you don't have the money to pay Alvin Kamara, this is somebody who's like, oh my God, I think my car's getting repossessed because I can't pay the note. And someone says, didn't you just buy a 30,000-gallon aquarium? And it's like, yeah, but look at how fun it is to look at these fish. It's amazing. And it's like, yeah, but you're not going to be able to get to work. Like, what are you doing? And Wild, I'm sorry for encroaching on your analogy department. I hope I did well there. But if you want to pay Taysom Hill because he's fun and he's cool and he's a gadget player, so be it. But if you do that at the expense of being able to keep one of the 5 best players on your team, you've lost the plot there, New Orleans.
Oh, God. I love Taysom Hill as a sand shark swimming around in Nick's aquarium. Perfect. Look, I think there's a lot of consternation here, Brandon. I think this still gets done. I think there's a little bit of negotiating in the media. When you look at the market for running backs, look, McCaffrey's at 16, Zeke's at 15, Le'Veon's at 13. We've got Derrick Henry's new deal is about 12 and a half. That's basically where Kamara needs to be. Right now, because he was a third-round pick, he's making less than $1 million. He's like $964. So then the question is, he's the 72nd highest-paid running back in the league. If he was on special teams, he'd be number 60. He makes less money than 44 Saints. So if I'm his agent, I'm like, listen, we don't need McCaffrey money. We don't need Zeke money. But we also don't want to get paid like the punter. Just get us in around the Le'Veon, Derrick Henry, and we'll be happy. And if you want him to take a few punts, he'll do that. You want to take a few Doug Flutie pooch punts? Hey, we'll add that in for free. But look, Tom Brady's coming in 11 days. Like you said, keep the main thing the main thing. I think there's a lot of smoke here, but eventually it gets done.
It has to get done. I talked about this yesterday. Everything runs through them. I was there for a number 3 receiver, number 4 receiver, a tight end. Playing for the Saints is boring because literally the entire offense is where's 13 and where's 41. And then every once in a while we sprinkle in Taysom Hill just to keep defenses off balance. So you have to get this done. It only makes sense. I love their chemistry. Even when they let go of Ingram, I thought that was a mistake because Ingram was the guy that glued to the locker room. He was the guy that kept such an intense environment because Coach Payton, he sets the tempo every single day with his preparation, and Ingram was the guy that kept it light because Drew Brees is the guy that's going to look in the mirror for 30 minutes and rock back and forth going through every single play, every single scenario. So when you have Alvin Kamara and what he means to your team in that locker room, you have to get it done. And whilst you're right, I don't think he's the type of guy that needs to be at the top. But he understands his value, and he shouldn't be paid that way. But this is a team they're unselfish, and they're willing to take one for the team.
And a few other things. Wilds, what didn't help the Saints yesterday was Joe Mixon getting 4 years, $48 million, same draft class, second-round pick. Mixon's a nice player. He's not Alvin Kamara. So if Mixon's in at 12, you got to think Kamara, even if he's not going to get to the 16 McCaffrey is, he's going to want at least 14, 15. And I understand that in general, paying running backs in today's NFL has not been a good investment. But you must evaluate it, Brandon, on a team-by-team basis. And so I'm going to use a messy cross-sport analogy. After the Heat had won a couple straight titles, they made what would have been a smart decision for most teams and moved on from Mike Miller. But it was a terrible decision for that team.
That's right.
Because your championship window is right then and there. You have no guarantee what you're going to look like the seasons 2, 3, and 4 following that. And that's where the Saints find themselves. You have no idea if you're going to go back to being what the Saints franchise was forever, Brandon, before Drew Brees walked through that door, once Drew Brees walks out that door. And if you kneecap their ability to compete for another championship this season, to me, it would be indefensible from a franchise-building perspective, Brandon.
Yeah, Nick, you're right. It seems like chemistry, continuity, understanding each other and perfect fit for my scheme, my team, my organization, what we're trying to do. It isn't appreciated in pro sports anymore. It's all about, well, this is my team, my philosophy. I'm a smart coach. It's built around that. And I think we need to get back to understanding how guys work well together. So that was a perfect analogy talking about Mike Miller. Like sometimes it's just a perfect fit. But I will also challenge you here, Nick, is that he's not a running back. You just got to put athlete next to his name. He does everything. He does everything. If anything, we need to consider him as a receiver. I saw this guy run routes like he was Eddie Royal. I saw him run routes like he was DeAndre Hopkins. He has probably the second best hands on the team. He catches punts for you. He throws the ball in Wildcat. So Wilds, if you're a coach, what do you do? Where do you think the sweet spot is when it comes to this contract?
I go and I take one of those huge checks that you see on game shows and write it out and give it to his agent and him, and also a giant pair of scissors to start the season. I cut a big...